Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
Hello and welcome back. Long time no talk, long time no see. Today we got a lot to cover. Getting these more rigid on modern times and what's going on in the day to day is pretty hard because you got to stay up with it. And I don't have like a production team or anybody that really helps me with this shit, so I just have to implement it in my own schedule. So hopefully some of these topics are tracking, but who gives a fuck? Because they're about as crazy as they sound and as crazy as they seem. And I didn't really realize all these were conspiracies in a sense. I swear I'm not fucking crazy. I don't just, look at the conspiracies and like let them overtake my life. But, like what else is really interesting? Like sports are cool, but I can only go on about sports so long because those are made up. It's almost like they want you to focus on sports, which is technically entertainment. And then they assume that the conspiracies are entertainment, but they always end up true. So it's like this backwards clashing of topics that they want you to worry about. But if it makes sense to why they're diverting you to sports and implementing more sports and betting and stuff, because they're trying to cover up knowledge and they don't want you to educate yourself on topics of today's day and age. That's why I'm here, to talk about it. Books for dummies, info for dummies. But I feel like it's almost like these theories are just end up true. So I'm confused on if like conspiracy theories or it's like a basic science now. Because if you go back to like the first science classes you ever had, they come with like, the scientific process of like, I can't even remember what the steps are, but I know what they are. It's like coming up with like a theory, and then you have to test it with like a blind placebo, like a blind test. You have to have the main tests, and then you have to like have a placebo test, and you have to reevaluate afterwards. It's not that it has anything to do with this, but conspiracy theories are kind of fucked up, But I don't think I'm starting with all conspiracy theories. There's one thing I'm really pissed off about, and it's these airlines trying to capitalize on domestic flights and just ramping up prices for no apparent reason when they can't even keep regular flights in the air. I mean, Air India just crashed. I mean, God bless every single person on that flight. That is not a laughing matter. But dadgum, like, what the fuck? Like, there's got to be... I got so freaked out by seeing that because they showed a map of where it crashed, and it was, like, maybe 4 miles from the airport. And I fly out of Philly Airport all the time, so I literally zoomed out on that screenshot, compared it to that screenshot. And I think Philly Airport's good. There's a big river along the side, so if they do that, nice little glide landing into the water. So, I mean, take it for what it is, man. An Airbus flying out of India, I mean, that's all I'm going to do there. But my main point was the idea I saw on social media that they want to implement standing airplane seats. I think from the article that I read, they said that it wasn't actually going to be practiced because of the bad feedback, which you can only assume. But who the fuck wants to stand on a flight? Like, it's not a train, it's not a subway where you can just grab the rail, hop on and off. It's a fucking plane, dude. You want me to stand? It's absolutely berserk. Like, you have these videos of fat people saying they can't even fit in the seat, and now you're going to make them stand? It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And I think, this is the article that I had found. It basically says, standing airplane seats on airplanes not coming anytime soon. 2012, Italian aircraft seat manufacturer, not even going to try to say that, showcased a rather controversial standing seat concept that could potentially increase passenger capacity by 20%. Oh, great. Let's make the planes heavier and have everybody stand and die when they crash. No. Like, half the planes that I get on aren't even full half the time anyway. You want to include more people? The Skyrider concept is quite similar to those of some roller coasters. Yeah, because that's exactly what we want to manufacture our planes after, is roller coasters. When you're saddled to the seat, it's almost this upstanding position. The seat pitch reduced just 23 inches. Carriers could potentially gain up to 20% additional space, making it cheaper for passengers to fly. Yeah, because that's the reason. They want to make it cheaper for passengers. I'm sure if you put it on a spreadsheet, they end up making more money per flight. Yeah, since the tabloids continue to report these seats, they have been allowed to be a new product, with the latest suggesting a 2026 introduction via a number of European carriers. The thing with the airplane seats is that they must go through rigorous testing and be approved by various civil aviation safety boards before they can be used on commercial flights. Just ask Lufthansa about the disastrous implementation of their Allegris business and first class seats. Garnered so much attention that the company issued a statement via social media channels dispelling all the rumors of a potential 2026 production. So it's obviously all cap. It's all bullshit. But as you can see, it's fucking retarded. Yeah, when you're sitting in that boardroom at whatever company this is, and you go, what's next, guys? What are we going to do next? Who's the fucking dude who stands up and says standing airplane seats? Who said that? Like, did they see it in the movie? Did they see it on Snakes on a Plane? Did they see it on, I wasn't going to say Flight School. What's the movie with Kevin Hart? We're on the Soul Plane. Is that like a Soul Plane thing? Where all the country and, like, fucking Section 8 people sat? Like, leave it up to Italians to try to fucking do some dumb shit like that. Trying to innovate the engineering of a plane, of a seat that's been... Seats are seats. There's a reason they're seats, because you're sitting for a long time. I'm sitting in a seat because I'm sitting here for an extended amount of time. You stand when you have a short time span to spend. I'm done on this. It's retarded, and they dispelled it, so I'm spending anger on nothing. In other news, speaking of Europe, Switzerland in that aspect, they're not even allowing anybody to travel. I mean, it's June. It's early June 13th, and they still have a travel ban on I think 12 countries, all of which you can assume of who they are. Probably Russia, probably America, probably South America, probably, I'm sure they're letting Canadians over, probably like France and shit. They're probably not letting those people travel. But in specific, they just had an avalanche, and everybody was freaking out about this avalanche. And it's like, dude, okay, first of all, they had an avalanche in the town. What was this town? The town of Blatton. It was wiped away, erased, obliterated, destroyed, stamped into the ground, the village's mayor said on the Friday that it happened. The memories preserved in countless books, photo albums, documentation, everything is gone. This is ground zero for Blatton. I mean, and if you look here, pretty devastating. Avalanche. But I love how people think that this is like global warming when it's the warmest months in Switzerland. And anytime you domesticate land, specifically something like this is bound to happen. And then people were like, oh, this hasn't happened in centuries. This is like, no, I actually looked it up. Before the 2025 Blatton Glacier collapse, which resulted in a massive landslide burying most of the village, the Birch Glacier was monitored following a significant landslide on December 18th, 1993. So you're talking about a little over 30 years ago for that to happen. That's, in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. That's no time. So, I mean, for the people living there, you'd assume, 30 years ago we had an avalanche in December at that. I mean, it's just like, this is nature. You're living in a remote part of the Swiss Alps. Like, this used to happen to civilizations and like societies or small villages, and nobody would know about it because there was no social media or news reports. Like, nobody died. They evacuated. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. Actually, let's see, because I'm pretty sure part of this said that there was like 4 casualties. The people lost everything except for what they are currently carrying on their bodies. Houses, bridges, real estate, they no longer exist. And obviously when the ice all melts, it just turns to a grand, muddy puddle. But yeah, this fucking blows, man. Buried under massive ice mud rock. What you're seeing happening all over the world. He was a computer engineer scientist who specialized in seismic monitoring of mountain systems, as well as the mountaineer who knows the slopes surrounding Blatton well. He had been keeping a close eye on the Birch Glacier for weeks, and had a live stream running in the background as he worked on Wednesday, listening to its cracks and crumbles as the noise grew. Be able to watch the collapse in real time. Suddenly I saw the pixels exploding in the top half of the screen. It was like, I was like in awe. He said the impact was an Achen bomb going off. I'm pretty sure they meant atom, or is an Achen bomb a thing? At the lens was obscured by the dust cloud. He searched for seismic data to estimate the size of the rockfall. He found that it registered a 3.1 magnitude earthquake, one of the largest mass movements of Earth ever recorded by the Swiss Seismological Service. For sure, there will be more. There will be harm to infrastructure, to livelihood and interest, he says, but the same thing taking place in all mountain areas. The glaciated areas are going back. The sustained snow cover is less over the years. The permafrost is warming at a global scale. The change is very rapid, he says. We have less snow. The glaciers are all retreating. The ice that solidifies the rock is melting. There are routes in the high mountains that are no longer accessible. Well, that's the thing too. Like, humans just assume that nature should like form itself to us and our standards and our needs, when nature is undefeated and it's this boundless creature that will overtake and destroy anything. And I don't know why scientists are so shocked when shit like this happens. Like, nature is powerful as fuck. It's powerful. It's more powerful than anything we can ever imagine. And I just think that, shit like this, it happens, man. Like, don't live in fucking Blatten, Switzerland. And there's a reason why it looks so nice and that you're so remote. It's because you're going to die by Mother Nature. And that if you want to live somewhere safe, go a little bit closer to society and take a trip out to Blatten. And just make sure you don't go there on December 18th, 1993, or don't go there on, June 3rd, 2025. Don't get hit by a glacier. And it's like, oh, there's tracks in the high mountains that are no longer available. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry. You can't hike at 25,000 meters anymore. I'm like, what are you doing up there anyway, man? Like, goodness gracious. I think Time Magazine had a statement or something like that. People will suffice their 9 to 5s for climbing like 9.5 like miles or something like that. It was just crazy. I just think that stuff like this is a little over, assumed. Like, the world was once all covered in ice, so obviously, like, there's ebbs and flows with how she's feeling. Sometimes she wants to retreat. Sometimes she's feeling a little warm. Earth is on her summer body vibe. She wants, she's got that thick bitch energy right now. Let Earth show her tits for once. Been covered by ice half her fucking life, so maybe she wants to show some soil for once. Let it rock. While the search results primarily focus on the recent glacier collapse and landslide, they indicate Birch Glacier had a history of instability, including the large landslides. Therefore, a 1993 landslide event would be the most prominent documented instance of a similar scale event impacting the area before 2025 disaster. It is important to note that smaller avalanches or debris flows likely occurred more frequently, given the geologic nature of the area. So, just take it with a grain of salt. Global warming? No. Shut up. Anyway, on the same topic of staying on the Eastern Hemisphere, I feel like the topics of Hitler and Adolf and all that stuff has been very maximized, and the idea of anti-Semitism is, at higher than it could ever be now for obvious reasons. But I like to, fulfill my interest in other ways. And I saw like really lucrative evidence of them stating that, Mr. Adolf never killed himself after World War II, and that the skull that supposedly had the bullet lodged from his self-inflicted gun wound was a female skull, and that you end up finding a bunch of dead ends when you research that specifically. And they were talking about how Hitler ended up just going to Argentina, which I've heard before. I don't know if you guys seen the show Hunters with Al Pacino, where it's just a bunch of like 80s, 70s groovy Jewish dudes. Like, I think there's like a black lady in there with like an afro too, who just go around killing like post World War II Nazis. Like, I don't know if you call them like Soviet Union Nazis or like, I don't know what kind of Nazis you would call those, but all the ones that were hired by NASA, by America after World War II to use their Nazi science on rockets, which essentially just created the space race during the Cold War with the Soviet Union. So I guess you could say we had like Soviet Union post World War II Nazis in America scheming against the American government, because the American government just lended its hand to these people like right after the war too. It's like, after fighting someone, like say you get in a really good street fight and you beat that guy's ass, you fuck him up, but like he had all the reason to fucking hate you, and then after that fight you go, hey man, let's join sides and fuck up these guys over here. You don't think that guy's gonna have a little bit of a weighted perspective? You don't think that guy's gonna have some shit up his sleeve? You don't think he's gonna have a a premeditated idea about what to do, especially if you're giving him resources. Like, let's just say, some of the best resources we have ever seen in NASA space exploration. Like, how many millions and billions of dollars have they wasted on nothing just to record, like, some guy in a fucking Michelin Man suit walking in Arizona, calling it the, moon landing. But what do I know? But supposedly, in this, I got really off a tangent. Hitler escaped to Argentina after World War II with the assist of America. And I know there's theories that there was like other Nazis that had joined him too on this venture. And it's just hard to believe that, there's theories prior that just say, no, it was just, Nazi soldiers that were like, oh no, like Hitler was so bad, we need to escape and go to like a safe land in South America, beautiful South America, beautiful, unsanctioned, untracked, accessible South America. Like I made the comparison, like all of these guys went, like during NCAA football, we have during travel games, you have bus 1, bus 2, bus 3, and then the fucking plebeian bus. And usually bus 1 compromises head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, majority of the starters, and just, main key guys. So that's like the both sides starters, like 22 people plus like another 10, glue guys. I was one of the glue guys on bus 1. And I compared this travel to bus 1 travel comparison. Like, you don't just send all your bus 1 guys and then the head coach is just not on the bus. He's just somewhere else, dead. Like, no. The head coach traveled with these guys. The head coach went on bus 1 with all the other Nazis to Argentina. Like, they didn't just go alone. Makes no fucking sense. He was there. He was definitely there. I find a hard time believing that you send your best players over there and, head coach doesn't travel along. There was one time in my entire life in all of sports, all of the 24 years I played of sports, that a head coach didn't ride on the bus with us to the games. And this specific pussy-ass bitch, and I will refer to him as a pussy-ass bitch because he's a pussy-ass bitch, but I won't say him by name, high school basketball coach would not travel on a yellow school bus to go to like a 30, 25-minute, whatever, 45-minute ride because he got motion sickness and he would drive himself. That's the only time. But that man lacked of, integrity and power. So, one-off, anomaly, unicorn, let's call it that. Not even a unicorn. But mainly there is this podcast called Redacted. I'm not sitting here saying I listen to this podcast or even endorse this podcast, but I saw this. And I guess you could say I'm getting all my information and news from social media, which I do fact check it. That's the thing, though. Disclaimer. I don't just go to social media and just spell boundless, find stuff and just tell people. Like, there's the internet, too. You can go and type in topics on the internet and find articles that relate to this stuff. So you can actually contextualize and, make something more granular than what it actually is on a 30-second reel. But we're going to play this clip because I thought it was actually really interesting. It's a little longer, too. Oh, shit.
As the Red Army closed in, I think that's, we all know that was a fabricated story, or if you watch the show, you probably understand that. Hitler actually fled Germany weeks before that, using a group of underground tunnels that led to an airstrip. And that airstrip was flown. He was flown from Berlin out. It took submarines, or multiple submarines that were used, U-boats.
Yeah, submarine.
Sent to Argentina.
Submarine 1, Submarine 2, Submarine 3. Best known, he was on Submarine 1.
More in Argentina, along with vast numbers of the Third Reich. Well, now Argentinian President Javier Milei has just ordered
Javier Milei is a beast.
Of all remaining documents.
Total beast.
All
Any
those
president's got
Nazis
lamb chops like that.
Fled
Beast.
Germany and moved to Argentina after World War II. Basically, it was almost like a second base of operations in Argentina. If you're not familiar with that, like basically the
setting
Third
up the
Reich
Cold War
operated
in
out
the
of
space
Argentina
race
and Germany. And many of them, including Adolf Hitler, lived in Argentina well after 1945. Most people know that Hitler lived out his days in Bariloche, Argentina.
And that's exactly what that show is about. Hunters with Al Pacino. Should be on Prime. It's pretty good. 2 seasons.
Documents about this. The FBI documents.
And I think I found the article to
in this area. They knew about it. Of course
Javier Milei.
It was largely facilitated I think it's safe to say, by the United States and its allies.
Safe to say by the United
Paperclip,
States.
anybody?
Fucking playing both sides.
Quid pro
What's new?
quo?
Also, if you look into this, the skull that is held in Russia that was supposedly the remains of Adolf Hitler with a bullet wound in it is female.
Yeah.
So when you look for proof that Hitler did in fact kill himself in the bunker, you are going to find a lot of dead ends.
Yeah, and all you need to read, you can read a great book on this called The Grey Wolf. It's a great book. There's many books written
I'll
about
probably
this
end
now.
up reading that book, Grey
yeah,
Wolf.
The skull, the fragments,
just
they ran
listening
the
to the
DNA
audio.
tests on it, and the Soviets allowed them to do this testing.
Soviets,
and,
my
even
reference to
Stalin openly
Soviets.
talked about that Hitler lived. That he was not there. So Stalin even.
I don't
knew
think
about it.
Stalin and
it's
Hitler
widely
were
known in Argentina,
sending
by the way.
carrier pigeons
well known that Hitler
that time?
sired 2 children while he lived in Argentina. People know this.
And that's what's
story, who have
interesting
studied this
is, so this is that next article where Javier, secret documents on Nazis who fled to Argentina after World War II being declassified. That's the whole reason why this came up. There was some like courthouse. They like went into some dungeon of it and they just found like boxes of leather-bound books that I'm just supposing they were probably journals and diaries or just like informational shit about what they were doing down there. But like, there's no reason. Like, where there's smoke, there's fire, man. Like, you can't. Hitler fled to South America. New CIA doc sheds light. Like, people have known this since like the 90s, and then in 2025 we just uncover it as that conspiracy. Yeah, it was kind of true. Excuse me, but like, I just don't get why they just try to play stupid. It's like this. I saw Chris O'Connor talking about it on Matt and Shane's Secret podcast on their recent one, where like. Well, Kai Cenat, for example, he was just at the BET Awards and he saw Wale, and apparently he didn't know who Wale was. Like, I call bullshit, same as Chris O'Connor. Like, there's no reason that these people with all this knowledge just play dumb. Like, the celebrities, like, when you see interviews with celebrities and, like, they get asked a question, like, do you know this person or have you seen this video? And they say no. It's like bull fucking shit. That is the most widely renowned thing or person or idea. Like, it's like a general idea and they don't want to, like, submit to it. And I get it, because like, you don't want to be on an interview submitting to an idea that you're really not knowledgeable about, speaking on something that you don't know. So they willingly say no to get the other person to divulge information about it, to almost like call them out to see how knowledgeable they are, which I kind of like. Which is it's an interesting tactic, which I tried to implement, but I'm just a little too honest. So I say yes or no. Like, I'm not here to not hurt somebody's feelings or to save somebody's feelings. Like, just say how it is. And I think that's what the fuck is wrong with a lot of this shit, is that you're delaying people's feelings. And then, like, you're gonna drop this in the middle of what's going on in 2025. Like, there were so many other years where you could have dropped this, where it would have been valuable. And it probably would have substantiated to something. I don't know why I keep saying substantiated. I'm not even sure that's a word. But you're going to drop, like, in the middle of everything that's going on. Like, Iran fucking just bombed Israel. And then guess what we found in Argentina? Sick. Yeah, let's bring it up now. Let's bring that up right now. Now's the time. Fuck. I don't know. Documents will likely include Nazi-linked bank accounts that archival records detailing the use of Nazi rat lines, which were monetary logistic pathways Nazis used to escape justice and flee Argentina following the war. Guillermo Alberto Francos, Argentina's interior minister, made the announcement Tuesday. The Buenos Aires Times reporting this news. So this escape is being investigated by the CIA. It's estimated up to 10,000 Nazis and other fascist war criminals escaped for justice after the Holocaust. Atrocities by fleeing to Argentina and other Latin American countries. Notorious high-level Nazis, including Holocaust mastermind Adolf Eichmann, the Angel of Death. Josef Mengele fled to South America and country, while rumors have swirled for years. Former Nazi party leader Adolf Hitler also ended up there. Yeah, like, you don't think they got Big Dog on campus? You don't think they got BMOC? I mean, and this guy right here, look at that look of intention. Like, he's not fucking around. He just wants the truth to be revealed, and that's why everybody hates him. And I like this guy. Like, this is somebody that I would get an oil painting in my house one day. And for no reason at all. Like, are you Argentinian? Are you South? No, this guy was a beast. The pending release comes after the Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa, requested their release last month in a letter to Argentinian President Javier Milei. And like, this is sick too, because you got some fucking Republican governor of Iowa who is hyper concerned about the documents underneath an Argentinian court, and he's sending letters to Javier Milei. Like, I guess that's That's what it's about, though. If you want to get into have power and get into public office, this is why they do it. So I can send a handwritten letter to Javier Milei and get a response. I'd frame that. I think that's a reason to get into office, get into politics. But I stumbled upon this thing. Yeah, look at this. 12,000 Nazis lived in Argentina in the 1930s with Swiss bank accounts. Newly discovered documents show. This is a new hyperlink. This is a new hyperlink. Yeah, this was released in 2017, but like 2017, CIA declassified a document revealed that the intelligence agency investigated the possibility that Adolf Hitler was alive in South America as late as 1955, nearly a decade after World War II ended. Like the possibility, you don't think if it's a possibility, is it actually like this is just it baffles me the ignorance that they think American society has, and most of them do. Most of them do. Most of them won't believe it even if they heard it, which I get. And I thought this was cool. So supposedly they said that he had 2 kids while in Argentina, but they ended up in like Long Island, which doesn't make it's kind of hard to track. But supposedly these children were born in Europe, and like they came to Berlin, and then they like tried to I don't know. Hey, let me just read it because I don't really understand it. How did relatives of Hitler end up living in the United States? It begins with his nephew, William Patrick Hitler. Imagine having the last name Hitler. You're not getting in anywhere. William Patrick was born in Liverpool in 1911. He was also the son of Adolf Hitler's half-brother, Alois, whatever, German name. He moved to Berlin, or Austrian. In the 1930s, his last name was a resemblance of his half-brother who became his half-brother became lucrative assets. Hitler himself regarded William as a freeloader and a buffoon. One of his most repulsive relatives as Germany prepared to invade Poland. I mean, how can you describe one of your relatives as repulsive as you're going to invade a country? You know, once you're pointing the finger, there's 3 more pointing back at you. In the U.S., much of modern-day celebrities, William charged per public appearance. He regaled American audiences with the life inside Nazi Reich. Things changed when America entered the war. Fear, reprisal, and ridicule replaced the desire to profit. William attempted to enlist in the military, the American military at that. His application was rejected for, obvious reasons. He wrote a protest letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. As one can imagine, a letter from a blood relative to the man considered an evil incarnate. I don't know. Fuck me. Caused a stir. An FBI investigation ensued. The letter triggered an investigation by the FBI. He was then allowed to enlist in the United States Navy. After the war, William Patrick made his way to Long Island, New York. He passed away in 1987. Besides the material things he handed down to his children, they inherited his famous last name. A name so tainted that they may have thought the only option was to deny themselves children. They are unanswered many questions by the brothers. The stigma, the last name affected their psychological health, obviously. What the genetic testing, as brothers tells, the brothers carrying genetic markers that would have some explanation for Hitler's psychopathic behavior. Can genetic testing tell us whether the oft-repeated rumor that Hitler himself had Jewish lineage is true? According to Dr. Fitz Redlick, his book Diagnosis of a Destructive Prophet, Hitler feared that his paternal grandfather was Jewish. As noted in the book Hitler's Jewish Soldiers. Few publications examine this issue. None have verified sources. Contain a fascinating discussion of arguments on both sides of the coin. He said that the DNA shows anything and will show how interconnected we all are. It might answer questions about his Jewish background, but they will not tell us anything about violent tendencies. Regardless of this background, he was an angry, evil man. In the end, it would help us realize that we can learn how to embrace the good in us and fight the evil regardless of genetics. In the end, you do not need the proof of Hitler's genetics to learn about his truth about humanity. So supposedly these brothers or the nephews of those brothers are writing books on their lives. I can only assume the burden of their lineage. It's like O.J. Simpson's family. I'm sure that you get like both sides of the coin in this aspect. It just kind of sucks. The family took an oath to sever the bloodline. Like, I think there's a better way to go upon it. Like, I guess you could compare this to like, if you have like the last name of like a slave master, are you never going to have kids because you fear that they're going to be, enslavers? Like, I don't think you can have that fear. I don't think life is about living in the past. We need to be able to move past things. And I guess that's kind of, I should redact any previous statement by saying that. But I think knowing the truth allows you to move past things. So I think these guys being paid per appearance is kind of detrimental too. The idea of it, I think they should go upon freely and be able to do free TED Talks and stuff like that about moving on. I think these people actually have a really big opportunity. I think if you have the last name Hitler, that's a big opportunity. That's not a big barrier in your life. So I think these guys should kind of reevaluate how they look at that. Not that I'm sitting here asking for the last name Hitler, because that's not what I want. My last name is Scarcelli. I'm sure it's tied to much worse things. The only thing I know it's tied to is a gambling cult in Philadelphia back in the 60s. That's about it. But I like how my news is kind of geographically staying coordinated. I went from Italy to Switzerland, and then I took a jump all the way to South America, Argentina, and because my next topic is actually about Haitian drug cartels, which is pretty sick. I don't know if anybody's known, but these Haitian drug cartels have had Haiti in a fucking stranglehold for months, probably like over 5-6 months now. And what America decides to do, we like to poke our nose and stuff, foreign policies. If only we listened to George Washington. But we decided to send off or reignite an old private military contractor by the name of Eric Prince. I believe he was part of Blackwater back in the day. So America, probably DT said, enough with that bull honky down there. We're sending somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing. Supposedly they're trying to weaponize drones to attack Haitian drug cartels. They contracted Eric Prince to seek and destroy gang members out in Port-au-Prince. And I think this is like a preliminary to everything that we've seen. I don't know if you saw that 75% of the deaths in the in the Ukrainian-Russian war, 75% of these deaths have been due to drones. So obviously, America is hyper excited to get behind this wheel and figure out what the next race is in arms and weaponry, and that is drones. So I think this is a little bit of a field day for them. I think this is like a practice round to what may happen. I think they're trying to test out the ability of these drones here. So they contracted some third-party military contractor and said, hey, we're going to give you some funding to try out some drones on these Haitian drug cartels, and we're going to see how it goes. But this is the article, and I thought it was pretty cool. Eric Prince, founder of the private military contractor Blackwater, signed the contract to help combat gangs that now control much of the Haitian capital. According to the New York Times, he is reportedly working to recruit American military veterans and other mercenaries for possible deployment this summer. See, that's the kind of stuff that I want to see movies about. I want to see like the behind the scenes of him assembling these soldiers. Like, where do you go? Is it just some like fucking bearded man in Fairfax, Virginia, who's shooting targets in the middle of the woods, and then you send some guy out like in Marvel, like in Black Panther, the guy with the black and like the white hair? Do you send him out with like an earpiece and to tell him the mission, but it's highly classified? They can't tell you the reality of the mission until you get there. Like, it was one of those things, or do you just get like a fucking pamphlet? It's like, hey, drones, Haitians, kill. Like, how does that work? I want some details on that. The reported development comes as the Haitian government turns to weaponized drones in its fight against armed troops. Police posted video that appeared to show drone strikes targeting gang members, but the footage has since been removed. Yeah, so, I mean, this article, how old is it? It's probably a few weeks old now. It won't say. I mean, I can't see it. Doesn't say. Yeah, this article's probably a few weeks old now, so I'm assuming that they already have assembled these teams and assembled the drones and are already killing people. But, like, it's not like the Ukraine war footage where you can just find it on Twitter. Like, America doesn't want you to know what they're doing, and they're way good at the IP. They're way better at the IP addresses and covering that stuff up. So they're probably going to town down there, man. I mean, it's just surprising that there's no resolution other but this. Like, like I said, I think this is like an experimental government project. Like, is this rat science? Are they just treating it like a GTA map? I'm going to attach all these links to the articles if anybody gives a fuck to read them. I read them. I just don't remember them. They're interesting once you hear the topic initially and then read about it. You're like, holy shit, this is actually true. Because that's how I do it. I find it on social media and I'm like, there's no way that's true. Type it in online, you'll find the article quoting New York Times. Jumping back over to another country. Complete disarray of information here. Scientists in Russia know what happens when you die. Supposedly, they can track nodes of electricity from your brainwaves after you die. And this guy I saw on social media, I didn't bother to look it up. Seems pretty legit. The most illegitimate topic I didn't bother to look up an article for, but I think I tried and couldn't find anything, but I don't know. What this guy said was pretty cool. And I'm actually reading the topic next to this Instagram video. It's kind of making me question why I'm even talking about this. Why, as humans, are we so obsessed with what happens after death? It's fun to speculate about it, but just causes more distraction from being here in the present moment. Leave what happens after life in the afterlife. Let's just be here to enjoy it while we have it. I choose to let it be a beautiful mystery. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that, but listening to what this guy said is way cooler and kind of threw me for a loop.
I now know what happens to you after you
Sorry
die.
that I'm showing all these
I'm not
long
talking
videos
about
too.
your body, that's
I didn't
just
mean to.
fucking worm food. We all know that. I mean, your spirit, if you like,
yeah, that's pretty
your
sick.
consciousness. I read it on the Russian version of Google last night called Yandex. I don't know why. This
Oh,
is
that's
not
where he
all
found it. He
over
found it on Russian Google.
fucking media
Totally
right
makes
now.
sense why I couldn't find it on
I'm not
American
set to
Google.
wink. So, if you don't know, Russia's largest tech company, Vladtech, have spent the last 10 years creating an interface to your brain that somehow embeds a code into every atom of you. So when you die,
I want to know who the
they
hell
can
they
then
use for these projects, though.
locate that
Like, are they
code within you.
paraplegic people?
It's
Like,
like an Apple
who's
AirTag,
just
but on a more
willingly
expensive,
submitting
grander
to
level.
this type of
So they can basically
Russian science?
see where your electricity, spirit, and memories go to, and they call it a SIC code, soul identity code, or something like that. And what they just discovered was,
And like, I don't really like this because it's kind of like
mind-blowing.
negates religion a little bit,
so the first volunteer
especially
passed
if
away,
like
they followed
it's
his
faulty
code.
science. Because I
But
believe
lost
in
it 'cause it's
our
travelling
Lord, Savior Jesus
faster
Christ.
than anything they can record. An hour later, when the computers caught up and refreshed, if you like, the SIC code settled in another galaxy.
And supposedly I saw a comment that
called-
like it's impossible to track an
oh,
SIC code or
Jade
have an SIC code that in depth
GS-Z14-0,
be
which
tracked.
is over 1 billion
So it's
light
like,
years away.
maybe
It's
they're
one of the
right.
furthest
Maybe this guy's just
galaxies
fucking
that we know of.
some dumb
This is
British guy.
life-changing for us all, of human beings. I cannot believe no one's talking about this. And apparently the scientists don't know
Well, I'm talking about it.
why it stopped there. Do we all
And
know
I mean,
that?
I guess like in the Bible, that's
What's
kind of
it
true
doing
too. Like where they say like your spirit
Well,
transcends into
I'm
something
speechless.
like another universe. Like, I
Get
don't know.
this. Scientists
Be
in
interesting
Russia
to see.
confirm that they now know what happens to you
So,
after you die.
so enough of that wretchedness. Yeah, these last two topics are good. I get just live free, die young. You know, do your thing. Do I not have that? Huh. Well, damn. I had a specific. I thought I had the article pulled up. It was about Doge's spending fines when they were doing that big audit, and supposedly, I guess I'll just try to speak from memory. From the same Twitter that I'm about to bring up from the next topic, but supposedly Doge found that government agencies were spending like millions of dollars on Alibaba, like 2018 through 2020, furnishing government buildings like all over the United States. And they were using Alibaba, which, if you guys know the Alibaba conspiracy, is that they would sell children within the furniture. And there was a lot of like transactions through governmental agencies and Alibaba, like millions of dollars. And this is why, like, when you looked on and you saw all those articles about like, oh, they spent $40,000 on coffee mugs and $1 million on desks. It's like, what? But then you rationalize it and connect the dots to the Alibaba conspiracy about, you know, child trafficking being executed through selling furniture and then pricing exponential prices on like a mahogany, you know, table. Like you get a mahogany table for $50,000 and you end up getting like 3 Hispanic children. Like that's essentially this connection and stretch. But I found it on this guy's Twitter. It's called The Real Fletch 17. He has like a bunch of this, like different conspiracies, and they had this long drawn out video. And I'm pissed I can't find it right now because I'd watch it. But it's true. Like, it was a video of a guy in court, and it's not AI. It's not. I know it's not. Stating that, you know, Doge, you know, uncovered millions of dollars of transactions in furniture through Alibaba. So take my word for it. You look it up yourself. I'll try to find it and insert it into here so I don't look like a complete, utter retard. But I was scrolling on this guy's Twitter as well, and I saw some 9/11 conspiracy with the Bush admin, specifically in relation to a guy named James Brian Comey Jr. He was an American lawyer who was the seventh director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation from 2013 until his termination in 2017. Comey was a registered Republican for most of his adult life, but in 2016 he stated that he was unaffiliated, which just so happens to be when Mr. DT put his name into the hat. So there's this conspiracy that Mr. Comey posted this picture on his Instagram, and it was just a bunch of seashells saying 8647, and he was questioned about it due to the fact that when he posted it, I believe it was May 15th, 2025. And May 15th, 2025 is exactly 8,647 days after 9/11. So people were, you know, saying that he should be arrested and that he was guilty of, you know, conspiring in the collapse of the Twin Towers because of his, you know, aid in the Bush administration, him being part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Obviously, somebody like that could easily gloss over something if they really needed to and were, you know, funded and paid in that regard as well. So this guy was under fire for posting this picture because he was seen on like CNN saying that it was just, oh, me and my wife just saw these assembled on the beach like this, and we thought it was funny, so we took a picture. But also the more direct, probably explanation for this is that 86ing somebody is like getting rid of them, terminating them, like dismissing them. 86ing 47 being the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump. So essentially it was just his call to like get rid of this guy. And it's, I don't know why I'm bringing this up, to be frank. It was just part, I thought it was going to be way more related if I had more information on that video. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy that it's just like conspiracies like this have so much like strings tied to them, and then people just proceed to just be like, oh no, there's nothing behind this, and then I guarantee you in like a few months this Comey guy is going to get like arrested or something. I'm pretty sure he's under investigation right now. Yeah, ex-FBI boss James Comey investigated for seashell photos seen as a threat to Trump. He's saying knowing exactly what his post meant. Former FBI Director James Comey is being investigated by Secret Service after shared the latest social media post, which Republicans alleged was an incitement of violence against the U.S. president. Comey posted a photo of seashells on the numbers 8647, which captioned, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Yeah, dude. Number 86 is a slang term whose definitions include to reject or get rid of, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, which also noticed that it has more recently been used as a term meaning to kill, and Trump is the 47th president. Comey insisted that he did not know what the numbers meant, but Trump has disputed that. Like, come on. Comey deleted the Instagram post. Anytime you delete a post and what you're being accused for, like, that means you're guilty, man. Like, if there's nothing to be guilty about, why delete it? Followed that he assumed the seashells were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate the numbers with violence. He added, it never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. But Trump argued that a child knows what that meant. That meant assassination is loud and clear to Trump, told Fox News. Friday, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. Rhetoric like this very seriously. Beyond that, we do not comment on intelligence. So there's the picture. Cool shell formation. Yeah, and it's like the dude already survived like 2 assassination attempts, so like you don't think this guy's just like trying to talk some shit, you know? But you know, that's all I got for today, man. I thought I talked about some pretty crazy stuff, tried to make some light of it, and just let you know that, you know, just don't be discouraged when something is told to you that may not seem true. Like, take it with a grain of salt. Look it up. Educate yourself. It's a lot more than meets the eye. And, two sides to every story, and there's a truth. So, I wish everybody the best. Take this information with a grain of salt and just live your life happy. Don't let it bog you down. Just let it be an interest. Let it be a funny talking point to you and your friends whenever you may need. So, thanks again. Go USA, and have a good one.